What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's time for another recap of what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. FYI, I'm recapping episode 13 because MTV did not put up episode 12 last night, so I really have no place to go. What I'm thinking is if they don't put it up tonight, then I'm gonna reach out to Yasmin Woodland, who also recaps Teen Mom 2, and then she's gonna come live and walk us through episode 12, like all together, like on a live. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like that. Now, moving into the episode, Briana announces that she had to break things off with someone else's husband because of the pandemic, and that's obviously because it's a lot harder to creep around behind your wife's back when you're all locked down in the house. Then she broadcasts her daughter on the toilet from multiple angles for the world to see. I truly question the judgment of these women and the producers for putting these kinds of scenes in there. We also later see a scene of Jade's daughter in the bathtub. I'm like, obviously I'm not going to use these photos. I'm not even these kids' parents, and I'm concerned about having these images out there, and these women could not care any less. Like it's bizarre. In Indiana, non-essential businesses can officially open back up, and Jade celebrates being able to go back to work while her boyfriend lounges around in sweatpants, unbothered about the prospect of looking for a job. Like, has it been established that Shawn is Jade's sugar baby or something like that? Listen, I understand stay-at-home dads, but Shawn is not a stay-at-home dad. He's a play video games while the child runs around and probably like eats the cat litter box kind of a dad. And besides, when Jade was working, this man would sleep in. Remember, she'd have to get up, feed the girl, do her hair, dress her, everything while this guy slept in, and then she would take the child and put her in daycare. So don't tell me that Shawn is a stay-at-home dad. He's not. You know, he needs to get a job. That's what he needs to do. In South Dakota, Chelsea and Cole want to conceive their fourth and final baby, so they talk to their doctor about whether or not it's a good idea to go forward with that plan in the middle of a pandemic, and their doctor reassured them that, listen, we don't know when this pandemic will end, so just go for it if that's what you want to do. In West Virginia, Leah's kids want to go back to their cheer and dance classes, and so she talks about putting them in private lessons in order to keep them safe, which I thought, you know, was great. Their kids are going to be wearing the masks. I believe the instructors are going to be wearing the masks. The kids get to exercise and like improve their mental health. Good for them. I don't understand why Leah doesn't try to like volunteer at daycares or even get paid to like work at daycares. Listen, she likes giving motivational speeches to children. She's quite good at it, so why not? It's something to do during the days. Over in Dover, Kailyn decides to do her gestational diabetes test at home because she doesn't feel safe doing it in a lab, and then, you know, her levels turn out to be normal, which is great for her. Meanwhile, her son Isaac was staying at his dad Joe's house, and you know, Joe's wife V, her family was coming over. They're close to him. They've known him since he was a baby, and he loves them. He wanted to spend more time with them, so he calls Kailyn to ask, hey, can I stay a little bit longer at my dad's house? You know, like my stepmom's family is coming over and I really want to spend time with them. What does Kailyn, who spent 2 episodes trying to demand that Joe allow Isaac to set his own schedule, decide where he gets to stay, what does she respond with? No. She's like, oh, like if he goes there, then he'll miss out on 3 weeks with having all of the brothers around at the same time. Well, she didn't think about how that would affect Joe's other child if Isaac were to stay longer at her house. So why is it all of a sudden a problem? You know what I mean? Like, this girl is always so freaking hypocritical. It is not even funny. That's why I call her Petty Betty. The rules always apply to everyone else but her. All of a sudden, Isaac is not old enough, he is not wise enough or whatever to decide his own schedule. But before, she wanted to get this, like, you know, taken to the courts to make sure that he can do that. Meanwhile, in Florida, Devon has been coming around, you know, to hang out with Nova, like color with her, all of that stuff, and we got to see it play out in the show. But he hasn't been able to give Briana money because he got laid off for a bit. He got back into work, and you know, of course, business was still slow. People were still scared to eat out at restaurants, especially at that time. So like, the money's just not coming in. Up north in Indiana, Jade reopens her salon and has a client in the chair, and the two of them talk about how it's great that the kids are back in school because they can greatly benefit from the socialism that school provides. You know, meanwhile, the two of them need to benefit from the education that school provides, but I digress. And then down south in South Dakota, this scene was just, So Chelsea shows us her ovulation test. Good for you, girl. Congratulations. Those lines are looking dark. And then she bangs Cole and goes, you know what? Let me clean myself off, grab this little camcorder, with my hair still messy, and then Cole looks like he just put in a workout, and they just both look like they just banged, and they confirmed that they just banged by saying, I think we just made a baby, and she rubs her belly. Cole says it's in there. Oh my God, I don't remember the last time I was this traumatized. Like, what? After that, she shows us a little bit more about the house that she's been building, and then she takes a pregnancy test in a porta potty in the middle of a pandemic. I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, what? Anyway, the test turned out positive, and like we all know, she's still pregnant with her 4th child. Great for them. It's nice to see people who like plan to have a kid, have healthy circumstances to have a kid, and want to have a kid. You know what I mean? Like, good for them. Over in Dover, Kail decides to eat crow, so she calls Jo with her tail tucked between her legs to apologize for how abrasive she was like a couple of weeks ago, demanding that Isaac get to set his own schedule. Now that the shoe's on the other foot and he wants to spend more time with his dad, she realizes he's a child and he should not be making those kinds of decisions himself, you know? So she's like, I'm sorry about that, blah, 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 blah. And then she sits him down. And this is where I'm like, wait, why were you talking to Isaac about this when you and Jo were not even on the same page? That was real shady of you, Kail. That was classic Petty Betty. She goes, you know, like how we were talking about how you can like have some input or whatever about like when you stay with dad or when you stay with me. I was like, sis, you should have left him out of this grown folks conversation. This was weird. It honestly sounded like she was telling him back in the day, listen, like I think you should be making your decisions. I'm gonna talk to your dad, make sure you can make your own decisions type of a thing, rather than like, you know, casual input. She later tells us that she's decided to have a home birth, claiming that it is due to the virus. But listen, y'all, this is the same chick who went to some kind of an island, I forgot what one, while she was pregnant with Lux, while the Zika virus was floating around, and we all knew that as the virus that was heavily impacting pregnant women. Remember when the kids were being born, their heads were very small or like indented, cratered in certain ways, and Zika was transported by mosquitoes. So you're going to a Caribbean island, heavily pregnant, while this huge virus is going around. And she also did not wear seatbelts while she was pregnant with Lux, claiming that a doctor, Dr. Seuss, told her that it wasn't necessary, that she shouldn't be wearing seatbelts while pregnant because she's so high risk. So this chick really wants us to believe that she doesn't want to give birth in the hospital because she's scared for health reasons. I'm more inclined to believe that she wanted a home birth so that her baby daddy with a PFA against him can show up for it, because we all know at the end of the day, Chris showed up for this birth and signed the damn birth certificate, and she gave the baby his last name. And in the final scene of the episode, Jade and this brown face situation girl is still such a mess. You can really see how much darker her face is than the rest of her body when she's cutting Shawn's hair and she turns to the side. So she asked Shawn to start working, and he says that he wants to get a music degree. I'm sorry, you guys, but this man just doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to work. And that's nothing against music degrees. I think they're great and everything, but I think he just doesn't want to work, period. You know, he could work and study for this degree, but he just doesn't want to. He wants to be Jade's sugar baby. And she's like, listen, you need to have ambition. You need to have passion for something. Like, I can't with you just like expecting things to fall out from the sky for you. Like, is this guy ever even working on music? No, he's always just playing video games. He's not serious at all. He gets really pissed off about Jade calling him out, but I'm really glad that she stood her ground and kept telling him about his damn self. He is lazy. He's not even gonna, I bet you right now, he's not even studying. He's not in school, you know, like he's not. He doesn't want to do a single thing. He's always gonna have some kind of excuse to get out of working, and I really, really need Jade to just kick him the heck out of the house, let him find his own way so that she can move on with her daughter in peace. Anyway, you guys, that does it. A recap for what went down on this week's episode of Teen Mom 2. As usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything, so please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.